Hello and welcome to today's author webinar. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anita and I'm part of the Learning and Content Management team. Joining me from the Learning and Content Management team are my colleagues Jennifer, Chandani, and Carol. So before we begin, a few housekeeping items. Firstly, please take a few moments to complete the poll you will see now on your screens. And if you have a question at any time during the content of the session, please use the Q&A option to send your questions directly to us. And we'll try to answer as many as questions as possible during the session today in the Q&A channel. And if we cannot answer all the questions, we'll reply to you directly after the session unless you post the questions anonymously. And we'll also cover some of the questions, top questions, at the end of the session today. For the best view, you may wish to drag the central bar on your screen to the right to enlarge the screen that I'm sharing. And you may also wish to enable the live transcripts via the bar on the bottom of your screen. Finally, our session is being recorded today and you will be sent a link when the recording is ready. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. So we will start by giving you an overview of how do you prepare for the revision submission process in Editorial Manager. Then we'll move on to quickly see how do you submit the revision in Editorial Manager. So the complete revision submission process overview. Then finally, we'll see how do you track a submission in Editorial Manager. Please note that the steps may vary depending on journal configuration and the type of article being submitted. So now let's get into the Editorial Manager test site and explore the revision submission process in Editorial Manager. So please note, I'm going to be using our training site for the demonstration purpose with dummy users and dummy submissions. So the training site is a good replica of the live environment, but it will look slightly different to your own profile. So please don't worry if you don't see things today that you usually see when you log into your profile. And this may be primarily due to the rights and permissions that may vary from journal to journal and from role to role. Yeah. So now let's move on to the Editorial Manager screen. Jenny, I hope the screen is all clear.
Yes.
Okay, the font size is all fine.
Yes, Anita.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So for instructions, first to begin with, for instructions on how to submit your revision, there is actually a video on how to submit your revision. So you can actually watch that video from this eye icon. When you click on this eye icon, you can actually watch this short video, which will explain you the process of how do you submit your revision. So before we begin, it is really important to understand the journal specific requirements, as these may vary from journal to journal. So there are few places where revision instructions may be found. The first one is the journal's guide for authors, which can be accessed via the instruction for authors in the top navigation bar here when you click on this About button. So, and this will contain all specific instructions. So please do visit the instruction for authors before you start submitting your revision. The second place where revision instructions can be found is the decision letter, which you would have received via email. So this letter may also easily be accessed via the Editorial Manager. So from your author main menu, so we are now in the author main menu, click on Submissions Needing Revision folder located in the revision session. So next, locate the manuscript you plan to modify. And so this is what is the manuscript we are going to check today. So I have already prepared a test manuscript to show you all. So here is it. And now click the link associated with the decision in the View Decision column. And okay, I hope, Jenny, the view letter screen is visible now.
No, Anita, we cannot see the, decision letter screen.
Okay, I hope it's all fine now.
Yeah, it's now up. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So now this action will open the editor's decision letter. So this letter will contain journal-specific instructions for preparing your revision, as well as editor and or reviewer comments detailing any necessary changes. Additionally, if the decision letter included any file attachments, these can be accessed by clicking on the associated links at the top of the letter, which you could see here. So preparing your files before you begin to resubmit allows the revision process to run smoothly and efficiently. And to see the source files you have submitted in the previous version, let's just go back to the previous screen. So we are here. So you can click on the file inventory in the action column, which will allow you to see all the source files you submitted with the original submission. Here you can download individual files or select multiple files to download in a compressed zip file. Next, prepare your revised manuscript and any other files as described in the decision letter. And if the research is being supported by funding, be sure you have all the details available, including funding body and grant numbers. And if you have any co-authors, please verify that you have the current affiliation and contact details of all authors. And if there are any changes to the author list, such as adding or removing an author or changing the author order, you must always have the agreement from all the authors. So now, once you've located the manuscript, you can click on Revise Submission in the action column. So you will now see a warning. If you do not yet have all your revised materials prepared, you can cancel now and come back when you're ready. Otherwise, click OK to begin. Okay, so next you will be prompted to confirm the article type here. Note it is rare to change the article type during revision. Doing so may result in different required fields as per the journal requirements or different required information. So always refer to the guide for authors for more information. And when you're ready, click on Proceed button. Now at the attached file step we are in, so a list will appear displaying all the files you uploaded in the previous version. So you can untick any files you will be replacing or removing. So you can just click here, untick, and you can remove the file. And when you're ready, click Proceed, which is here at the end of the screen. And here we are in the next screen. So any required files will be listed here at the top. So if there are any mandatory requirements for the journal, that will be listed here. And journal may also require additional files for revision. And if you have changed article types, there may be different requirements as well. So now to upload a single file, you can click on Browse button here. And just click on Browse. So I have now uploaded all the required files here. You can also use drag and drop to upload several files at once. If there are any duplicate file names or items that cannot be uploaded, then that will be listed below with an error. As you could see here, it says duplicate file name
audio
detected.
Anita,
Jenny, is it all clear now?
you're fine now, but then I think we lost you for a couple of seconds there on we're talking about dragging the files. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So I was just mentioning that you can browse the file, or you can also drag and drop multiple files from the folder directly here. So now I have uploaded all the files which are required for this revision. So if you go down, if there are any duplicate file names or items that could not be uploaded, that will be listed below with an error, as you could see here. So click on Dismiss All to clear the error message. So now that's done, And after uploading several files at once, you will need to choose an item for each item type. I'm just going to choose the appropriate item type. Okay. Table. Yeah. So now I have selected all the appropriate item types. So, and if you'd like to remove any file, you can actually select here and click on the remove button. And once you're done, you can actually sort the file order, so which you could see here. So the journal may be automated to sort files based on the chosen item labels, but you will always be able to set the order when there are multiple files of the same type, such as figure files. So to reorder the files, you can change the order number here next to each file, then click on update file order. And before proceeding, check that your files are correct. There should not be two versions of the same file, except when submitting both marked and clean version of the manuscript. So I'm just removing this file here. And now, in addition, there should not be any file such as figures, tables, supplementary files, LaTeX source files. So everything, whatever is applicable for the revision, that must be submitted. And note that the requirement files will vary journal per journal. And when you're sure you have all the files in the correct order, click on the proceed button to continue. Okay, the system is a little slow. Just hold on with me. Okay, yeah. So now we are under the general information tab. So check whether any details are added or needs to be added here. So if all the data is fine, and if you don't want to change any information here or update any information here, click on proceed. Just hang on with me. The system is a little slow here and there today. So it's taking some time to go to the next step. Okay. Okay, so now here review your previously submitted, suggested, or opposed reviewers. So you can just expand the screen. You can verify all the information here, whatever you've entered, your review preferences. Feel free to update if necessary. If no changes are required, then click on proceed button. So every step will have all the information ready, which is taken from your original submission. So you'll have to just verify it or add any additional information if required. Okay, fine. Now you may be asked to review the additional information tab, such as any journal-specific review questions at the additional information step. So if so, please review or respond as needed, and then click on proceed button when you're ready to continue. Okay, and at the comment step, please review the comments you may have entered when you initially submitted, and update if necessary. Some journals may also require you to enter a response to reviewers. So you'll have to just expand this here And you can provide your response to reviewers here. And for reference, you can also view the decision letter again before you start typing your response. So you can view the decision letter once again from this page. And once you're done filling this page, click on Proceed button to continue. And now we're getting into the manuscript data page. So check here everything carefully. So if your submission is accepted, this metadata may be used in the publication process. So just check everything here very carefully. And if you need to update the contact information for any of the co-authors, you can do so by clicking on, clicking on this author button here. So you can click on this author button here and click on this small pencil icon to edit the author details. So you can also add new authors or remove new author. So just click on add another author and you can make any changes here. And if there is any missing required information, it will be flagged in red for you. So be sure that your funding information is complete and up to date by adding each of the grants separately here. So you can click on add a funding source and add all the funding information necessary. And if you feel that there is no funding that's available for this manuscript, then you can just click on funding information is not available. If you click on save and submit later at any time, or you leave the revision screen without building the PDF, your work will be saved automatically. So do not worry, you can come back anytime and submit the paper again. So you will have to, from your main menu, you will have to click on the incomplete revisions to find your revision in progress, which I'll actually take you once we're done with the step. Jenny, I hope everything is clear.
Yep, it's all good.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, there was some just a disturbance in the middle, so I just thought I've lost. Great. Okay, and once you're ready, just click on the Proceed button and click Build PDF for approval. Okay, so now you will move on to the revisions waiting for approval by author screen. So this will automatically reload and the action list will appear once the PDF is ready. So it's just refreshing. So it might take some time. This usually takes only a minute or two, but can be longer when there are many images or other large files. So just hold on with me for a second. Okay, it's currently building the PDF. Okay, so here we are. The paper is ready now. And click on View the Revision button to open or download the PDF. Check that your files appear as you intended. For journals that require a response to reviewers as text comment, you can preview that by clicking the author response here, by clicking on this button. And if you need to make any changes, click on Edit Revision to return to the submission screen. You can also view the correspondence history or send email. I'm sorry, the screen is again and again refreshing. So yeah, as I was saying, you can actually click on the correspondence history here or send an email to the journal by clicking on the Send Email button. And when you're ready to submit your revision, click on Approve your revision. So before that, you have to click on this PDF. And once you're ready, you can click on Approve Revision. So it will ask you, are you sure you want to approve the submission? So you can just give OK. So yes, so now we have received confirmation and you will see that your revised submission has been now submitted. So I'm just going to go back to the main menu. So here you can see that under the revisions folder, revisions being processed, your manuscript will be available here now, and it's successfully submitted to the journal. So this is the manuscript. So it's now submitted to the journal, and the journal office will be taking care of assigning the manuscript to the appropriate editor. And we're just going back to the main menu again to just show you on the details of the incomplete submission. So as I was mentioning about the incomplete submission, so you click on save and submit later before you build the PDF. So you can find that paper from here in the incomplete submission being revised folder. So you can click on here and you can start completing the submission by clicking on edit revision and complete the revision submission process. So this is how you successfully submit your revision paper to the journal, appropriate journal. So now I'm just going to go back to the presentation. Jenny, I hope the screen is all clear.
No, Anita, I can see your notes.
Okay. Is it all fine now, Jenny?
Yep, all good now.
Okay, great. So now we are going to actually see on how do you track your submission once the paper has been submitted to the journal. So an author finishes writing his paper and submits it to the journal, let it be an original submission or a revised submission. So the system shows the status of the manuscript as manuscript submitted. And based on the workflow of the journal, the editorial office or the editor performs a technical check on your manuscript. They will check the manuscript word count, format, and figure quality, etc. The next step is assigning it either to the editor-in-chief or an associate editor or the previous handled editor for further handling. Journals usually have multiple associate editors who are experts in a particular niche within the broader subject area. So your manuscript will be handled by the editor who has the highest level of understanding and experience with your paper's research topic. And if it's a revision paper, then the previously handled editor will receive the paper. So the status will remain with editor until the editor either makes a decision or invites further reviewers. The handling editor has different action choices now. He or she can make a desk reject or send the paper for revision once again or proceed to invite reviewers. The editor conducts an initial screening of your paper and assess it against several criteria such as novelty, priority, and scope. And if your paper is a better match for another journal, you may be offered a manuscript transfer also. It is possible that your paper does not meet some of the assessment criteria and the editor will reject it before going into the peer review. And if it's a revision process, then the editor might directly check on your response to reviewers and decide to make a decision. And if the editor decides that your paper is a good match and it can continue with the revision process, then they will again identify, if it's a new paper, they will identify 2 or 3 independent reviewers, or if it's a revision paper, they will just proceed to invite the previously handled reviewers and send them an invitation to review your manuscript. So when the editor invites reviewers, the status of the manuscript changes to under review. Once the number of required reviews are received and recommendations were submitted by the reviewers, the status of the manuscript shows as required reviews completed. Now, the handling editor carefully studies the review reports. It can happen that the referee reports are conflicting, in which case the editor needs to find additional reviewers. And when this happens, your submission returns to under review status once again. And when the editor has received high quality feedback from the reviewers, they will begin the decision-making process and move the paper to decision in process. So the decision may need to be confirmed by multiple editors for some journals, and the manuscript again moves to the editor-in-chief's account. So now the editor-in-chief submits his or her decision. So there are possible decision terms that are listed here. So it could be revised once again, or So you can just see that here. So the editor is requested that you revise your submission, and you will find the details of the changes required and the deadline for your revision in the decision letter. And the next one is accept or reject. So the submission process is completed with either an accept or reject decision. In case of an accept decision, the manuscript will begin its production process and you will receive further information. The next one is transfer pending. So the editor has rejected your paper and suggested to transfer it. So the editor has recommended the submission be transferred to another journal via our automatic article transfer service, and you're offered a transfer. So we will await your response before proceeding further. And the final one is submission transferred. So you accepted the transfer and the submission is now being transferred to another journal. We've also published a video on submission status explainer, which will explain how your submission progresses after submitting the manuscript. And the link of the video will now be posted in the chat section. We have now introduced a submission tracker tool to more than 2000 plus journals. So once a journal is using submission tracker, an email is sent to the corresponding author when the first reviewer is invited. As you can see from the screenshot here, the email contains link to the submission tracker landing page where the author can view the status of the review process of their submission. Note that the same link will remain active throughout the end-to-end peer review process. We expect to have the submission tracker tool available to all Elsevier journals in the very near future. So the submission tracker handling page for a submission looks as shown here. From here, you can monitor the complete status of your manuscript. You can see how many reviewers have completed a review for your submission, how many have been invited, how many invitations are sent. So all the corresponding details of your paper are available in the submission tracker. So this is how you can actually use the submission tracker page to monitor the status of your submission. So that brings us to the end of our webinar today. So thank you for listening. And after this session, we'll also be sending you an email that will contain some helpful links to the webinar recording and some short video guides that relate directly to the topic. We're also going to now post some helpful links for you today in the chat. With regards to how do you prepare for a revision, how do you submit your revision in Editorial Manager. So those videos are now going to be posted in the chat section for you. So please save and bookmark it for your future reference. And once again, thank you very much for joining us. Please take a few moments to complete the short survey. You see that in your screen now. So your answers will really help us to deliver more webinars like this one. So thank you once again. See you all next time.